Let me share something powerful with you today that could absolutely revolutionize your understanding of success and fulfillment. We're going to talk about one of the most profound truths I've discovered in all my years of study and success. You only need yourself. Now, isn't that fascinating? In a world that's constantly telling you that you need more resources, more connections, more everything, the truth is that you already have the most valuable resource you'll ever need: yourself. Let me tell you something I learned early in my career that changed everything for me. I was always looking outside myself for the answers, always searching for someone or something to make things happen. Then one day my mentor said something that stopped me in my tracks. He said, "Jim, everything you need, you already have, Teen." You see, most people are walking around with a lottery ticket mentality. They're waiting for someone to discover them, waiting for their big break, waiting for the perfect opportunity. But here's what's interesting. While they're waiting for someone else to change their lives, they're sitting on their own gold mine. Let me share with you what I call the self-sufficiency principle. Everything you need to succeed, you already possess. Everything you need to grow, you already have. Everything you need to transform your life, you already own. Think about it. You have your mind, your thoughts, your creativity. You have your time, your energy, your determination. You have your abilities, your experiences, your unique perspective. What else do you really need? Here's something fascinating about this truth. The moment you realize you only need yourself, everything changes. Your excuses disappear. Your victim mentality vanishes. Your dependency on others dissolves. Let me tell you about two types of people I've observed over the years. The first type is always looking for something or someone outside themselves to make things happen. They're always saying, if only I had this, or if only someone would help me, or if only circumstances were different. The second type understands something profound. They understand that they are their own greatest resource. They understand that everything they need to succeed is already within them. They understand that they only need themselves. Now, here's what's interesting about these two types. They could have exactly the same external circumstances, exactly the same opportunities, exactly the same resources. But their results will be completely different. Why? Because one is waiting for something outside themselves, while the other is working with what's within them. Let me share with you what I call the 4 powers of self-sufficiency. The first power is self-reliance, the ability to depend on yourself. The second power is self-motivation, the ability to drive yourself. The third power is self-discipline, the ability to control yourself. And the fourth power is self-belief, the ability to trust yourself. Think about it. When you develop these 4 powers, what else do you really need? When you can rely on yourself, motivate yourself, discipline yourself, and believe in yourself, what external resource could possibly be more valuable? Here's another fascinating thing about realizing you only need yourself. It eliminates excuses. When you truly understand that you have everything you need within you, you can no longer blame external circumstances for your results. Let me tell you about something I call the self-sufficiency test. Ask yourself, if all external support disappeared tomorrow, if all my connections, all my resources, all my advantages were gone, what would I still have? The answer is yourself. And that's enough. You see, most people never pass this test because they've never developed their internal resources. They've been so busy looking outside themselves for answers that they've neglected to develop their own capabilities. Let me share with you what I call the 3 illusions of dependency. The first illusion is that you need others to succeed. The second illusion is that you need perfect circumstances to succeed. The third illusion is that you need more resources to succeed. Now, isn't that interesting? These illusions keep most people stuck, waiting for something or someone outside themselves to make things happen. But the truth is, you only need yourself. Think about this. Every great achievement in history started with one person believing in themselves. Every significant breakthrough began with one person trusting their own capabilities. Every meaningful transformation started with one person deciding they were enough. Let me tell you about something I call the self-sufficiency paradox. The less you depend on others, the more others want to help you. The more self-sufficient you become, the more opportunities come your way. The more you realize you only need yourself, the more resources become available to you. But here's what's fascinating. Most people have this backwards. They think they need the help first, the opportunities first, the resources first. but it's their dependency that's keeping these things away. Let me share with you what I call the 5 truths of self-sufficiency. The first truth is your greatest resource is yourself. The second truth is your greatest limitation is your self-doubt. The third truth is your greatest opportunity is your current moment. The fourth truth is your greatest power is your choice. And the fifth truth is your greatest eye is your determination. Think about these truths. Really let them sink in, because once you understand them, once you truly embrace them, everything changes. Your excuses disappear, your limitations dissolve, your possibilities expand. Here's another powerful aspect of realizing you only need yourself. It gives you unshakable confidence. Not the kind of confidence that comes from external validation, but the kind that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you have everything you need within you. Let me tell you about something I call the self-sufficiency breakthrough. It's that moment when you finally realize that you've been looking outside yourself for something that was within you all along. It's that moment when you understand that you don't need anything or anyone else to succeed. Now, this doesn't mean you should reject help when it's offered. It doesn't mean you should ignore opportunities when they appear. What it means is that you don't depend on these things. You appreciate them when they come, but you don't wait for them to act. Let me share with you what I call the 4 decisions of self-sufficiency. The first decision is to stop waiting for help and start helping yourself. The second decision is to stop looking for opportunities and start creating them. The third decision is to stop hoping for resources and start using what you have. The fourth decision is to stop depending on others and start relying on yourself. Think about how liberating these decisions are. When you make them, truly make them, you free yourself from dependency. You free yourself from excuses. You free yourself from waiting. Here's another fascinating thing about realizing you only need yourself. It puts you in complete control of your life. When you understand that you have everything you need within you, you no longer have to wait for anything or anyone to move forward. Let me tell you about something I call the self-sufficiency formula. It goes like this: self-awareness plus self-belief plus self-discipline equals self-sufficiency. When you know yourself, believe in yourself, and can discipline yourself, you become completely self-sufficient. But here's what's interesting. Most people never develop this formula in their lives. They're too busy looking outside themselves for answers, too focused on what they don't have, too concerned with what others can do for them. Let me share with you what I call the 3 levels of self-sufficiency. The first level is physical self-sufficiency, taking care of your own needs. The second level is emotional self-sufficiency, managing your own state. The third level is mental self-sufficiency, directing your own thoughts. Think about it. When you achieve these 3 levels of self-sufficiency, what else do you really need? When you can take care of your own needs, manage your own state, and direct your own thoughts, haven't you become completely self-sufficient? Here's another powerful truth about realizing you only need yourself. It eliminates fear. When you know that you have everything you need within you, what is there to fear? When you trust in your own capabilities, what is there to worry about? Let me tell you about something I call the self-sufficiency challenge. For the next 30 days, act as if you only had yourself to rely on. Make decisions as if no help was coming. Solve problems as if no one else could solve them for you. Move forward as if you were the only resource you had. Now, isn't that interesting? Most people won't take this challenge because they're too comfortable depending on others. They're too used to waiting for help. They're too accustomed to looking outside themselves for answers. But here's the truth. Until you prove to yourself that you only need yourself, you'll always be dependent on others. Until you demonstrate to yourself that you have everything you need within you, you'll always be looking outside yourself for answers. Let me share with you what I call the 7 powers of self-sufficiency. The first power is self-awareness, knowing who you are. The second power is self-acceptance, embracing who you are. The third power is self-trust, believing in who you are. The fourth power is self-discipline, controlling who you are. The fifth power is self-motivation, driving who you are. The sixth power is self-direction, guiding who you are. And the seventh power is self-transformation, growing who you are. Think about these powers. When you develop them, when you strengthen them, when you master them, what else do you really need? When you can be aware of yourself, accept yourself, trust yourself, discipline yourself, motivate yourself, direct yourself, and transform yourself, haven't you become completely self-sufficient? Remember, you only need yourself. Everything else is extra. Everything else is bonus. Everything else is supplement to what you already have within you. That's the message. That's the truth. That's the principle that can transform your life. If you're willing to embrace it, if you're ready to live it, if you're prepared to prove it through your actions. The choice is yours. The time is now. Will you realize that you only need yourself? Let me share something else with you about this profound truth. You know what's fascinating? The moment you truly understand that you only need yourself, your entire relationship with the world changes. You stop being a consumer of life and become a creator of life. Here's what I call the creator's mindset. When you realize you only need yourself, you stop asking, what can others do for me? And start asking, what can I create with what I already have? Now, isn't that interesting? Same person, same resources, completely different questions. Let me tell you about something I discovered after years of studying successful people. The ones who achieved the most weren't the ones who had the most help, the most resources, or the most connections. They were the ones who had the most faith in their own capabilities. Think about this. Every resource you think you need outside yourself is actually a capability you haven't yet developed within yourself. Every time you say, I need this or I need that, you're really saying, I haven't yet developed this capability within myself. Let me share with you what I call the self-sufficiency growth cycle first. You identify what you think you need. Second, you ask yourself, what capability would I need to develop to provide this for myself? Third, you focus on developing the capability. Now, here's what's fascinating about this cycle. Each time you go through it, you become more capable, more self-sufficient, more powerful. Each time you transform an external need into an internal capability, you grow stronger. Let me tell you about something I call the 3 stages of self-sufficiency. The first stage is dependency, where you believe you need others to succeed. The second stage is independence, where you realize you can succeed on your own. The third stage is interdependence, where you choose to work with others from a position of strength, not weakness. But here's what's interesting. Most people never make it past the first stage. They're so comfortable in their dependency that they never develop their own capabilities. They're so used to relying on others that they never learn to rely on themselves. Think about it. Everything you currently depend on others for was once something you couldn't do for yourself. Walking, talking, feeding yourself, you had to learn all these things. And once you learned them, you no longer needed others to do them for you. Let me share with you what I call the self-sufficiency success formula. Your success is directly proportional to your level of self-sufficiency. The more you can rely on yourself, the more successful you become. You see, when you truly understand that you only need yourself, something remarkable happens. Your excuses disappear because you realize you have everything you need. Your fears dissolve because you trust in your own capabilities. Your limitations vanish because you know you can develop whatever capabilities you need. Here's another powerful aspect of realizing you only need yourself. It gives you unshakable peace of mind. When you know that you can handle whatever comes your way, when you trust that you can develop whatever capabilities you need, what is there to worry about? Let me tell you about something I call the 4 freedoms of self-sufficiency. The first freedom is freedom from dependency. You no longer need others to succeed. The second freedom is freedom from limitation. You can develop whatever capabilities you need. The third freedom is freedom from fear. You trust in your own abilities. The fourth freedom is freedom from excuses. You know you have everything you need. Think about these freedoms. Really let them sink in, because once you experience them, once you truly embrace them, your life transforms completely. Here's another fascinating thing about realizing you only need yourself. It makes you incredibly valuable to others. When you're completely self-sufficient, when you don't need anything from others, you're in the best position to actually help them. Let me share with you what I call the self-sufficiency paradox. The less you need others, the more valuable you become to them. The more self-sufficient you are, the more others want to work with you. The more you can rely on yourself, the more others can rely on you. Now, isn't that interesting? Most people think they need others to build relationships. But the strongest relationships are built between self-sufficient people who choose to work together, not because they need to, but because they want to. Think about this. When you're completely self-sufficient, you can choose your relationships based on want, not need. You can choose your projects based on desire, not necessity. You can choose your path based on passion, not dependency. Let me tell you about something I call the 5 powers of choice. When you're truly self-sufficient, you have the power to choose your responses, your relationships, your direction, your actions, and your results. You're no longer at the mercy of circumstances or other people's choices. But here's what's fascinating. Most people never experience these powers because they're too dependent on others. They've given away their power of choice in exchange for the comfort of dependency. Let me share with you what I call the 3 promises of self-sufficiency. The first promise is that you'll never be helpless because you can always help yourself. The second promise is that you'll never be stuck because you can always create your own opportunities. The third promise is that you'll never be limited because you can always develop new capabilities. Think about these promises. When you truly understand that you only need yourself, these promises become your reality. They're not just nice ideas or motivational concepts, they're the practical results of true self-sufficiency. Remember, you only need yourself, not because others can't help you, but because you don't depend on that help. Not because opportunities won't come your way, but because you can create your own opportunities. Not because resources aren't valuable, but because you are your own most valuable resource. That's the message. That's the truth. That's the principle that can transform your life if you're willing to embrace it, if you're ready to live it, if you're prepared to prove it through your actions. The choice is yours. The time is now. Will you embrace the truth that you only need yourself?